Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Ben and Carrie and Tim, we appreciate it so much. It's truly amazing what you do for us. Mark, episode 166, man, how are you doing?
All right, man. Missed you down in Madison, man. And I got my sunburn traditionally always on this week. So yeah, I got a little sunburn going this week.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to miss the Joe Shear Classic down at Madison. Some family things to just attend to, and like the Dells, unfortunately, for the icebreaker too. But I tell you what, I'm more than ready to hit up a racetrack here. I'll probably first get to the racetrack for the Spring Classic at WIR in a week. So looking forward to that. But I got to see the highlights. I got to see your videos and your interviews from Madison down there. Job well done, buddy. Appreciate your coverage.
Last year I was saying, that's your deal, dude. I ain't doing this. But, it's the racers are so genuine, and they like to talk, So, yeah, it was pretty easy. I didn't stumble too bad, but I'm definitely green when it comes to that stuff, man.
No, you did well, and I appreciate it, buddy. Hey, we're gonna talk about the Joe Shear Classic coming up here. We're also gonna have the winner of the Midwest Truck Series race, Eugene Gregorich III, first-time winner in the Midwest Truck Series, which was hard for me to believe because he's been a title contender pretty much since he's been in the trucks and has run well. So I was shocked to hear that was his first Midwest Truck Series win. Also, a little later on, we're going to have Matt Panure on with the Tundra Super Late Models, also my announcing partner at Wisconsin International Raceway. So really great episode. Of course, we'll talk about Texas and some other events that happened over the weekend. And man, just looking forward to it and hearing from these guys.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to be going to the hotline. You know how much I like that stuff, man.
Yeah, let's go out there now.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Eugene, thanks for joining us, man. Hey, congratulations on that first Midwest Truck Series win in the Bullseye Games 36. What an accomplishment for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks for having me on.
Hey, I asked you the question. Where were we going to celebrate, man? So where'd you end up going?
We went back home. So we drove back up to Stevens Point. I live in Amherst, but then we drove to Stevens Point, and there was one bar open that we went to. It was me, my grandpa, my dad, and then my dad's buddies Ryan, and then one of my friends Aiden. We went out and we closed down the one bar that was open on Sunday night. So,
but that sounds like a good time, man. Hey, I want to start kind of and tell your story a little bit. Obviously, most of us know you kind of grew up in the sport here, but tell us about growing up in the sport, and then at what age or what time was there a moment where you knew that you wanted to get involved yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've been at the racetrack ever since I can remember. I mean, my dad has been racing late models since I think he started in 2000 or 99, and I was born in 2002. So he was racing a lot back then, and we were constantly going to Marshfield, Golden Sands. And I mean, kind of the first memories I have really is being in the shop with him while he was scaling the car or doing different setup stuff on it. And then I got into go-karts when I was 6 years old. I started doing that at GSR Cartway and then Ringo Brickyard when that was open. But I mean, pretty much from the beginning, I knew I wanted to be invested in racing. It's what my dad did. It's what my grandpa did. My great uncle it was pretty deeply embedded into our family roots. And I mean, I loved it and I loved every part of it. I was always in the shop with my dad, always wanting to learn what he was doing. And he's always teaching me how to weld, how to make braces, and do all the kind of the hands-on stuff when I was younger, just to really get me introduced to that way. Because he always told me not letting you drive unless you're actually working on it or unless you know what's going on with these things. So like I said, I was committed from day one. Really, I was I mean, there's multiple nights, I don't even remember, probably middle school, maybe even a little younger, where I was up till 2 a.m. in the shop with them while they were scaling, and mom's coming out like, hey, it's time for him to go to bed. So it's it's cool to look back on those nights. I do remember I didn't want to be out there at that point. It was almost like I was trying to prove to my dad like I can do this, I can be out here. But as I remember, I was just dead tired. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I've always, from day one, really, I knew I wanted to be invested into it, and I wanted to put a lot of time and effort into it.
I always love when people bring up go-karting. I got a chance to announce at GSR Kartway, actually. One of the best experiences of my life announcing. Those guys and girls, all the way up to adults on the tractors, are just flying around that track. It's so awesome. And of course, we got the Little Buckaroo and Cecil still going to in other places. So I just love when people bring that up. So where did you go from GSR in the karts? Where did you move on from there, and at what age?
I was, gosh, I don't remember exactly. I think I was 12, and we ended up getting a Bandolero. So I did that. Went up to State Park for 3.5 years. I did that for the full seasons. Didn't travel a whole lot to like, because they were traveling to Dells and Golden Sands and stuff like that every now and then. But we pretty much just stuck up to State Park. It worked out because usually my dad was racing on Friday at Sands or Marshfield on Saturday. So that's why it was perfect that Thursday night we could run up there, go race, and then usually we were one of the first ones racing, so we could get back home. So that way it wasn't 1 a.m. getting to bed and then having to go to school in the morning. But yeah, no, the Bandoleros is a great stepping stone for me. It's kind of similar to a go-kart in the way they drive, where you're really heavy on the throttle for the most part. You were wide open around the track, but it was just kind of getting some of that bigger track experience, and then learning how these little bit bigger cars handle. And they had springs in the rear, so we would make some adjustments with the springs and the ride heights and stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, it was a good introductory level of like, that good stepping stone right after the go-karts, where it just got you in a little more in depth of very little setup things, and then just handling wise how it's going to feel when you're carrying more speed into these bigger corners.
So how did you get some good results in that series there?
Yeah, I don't remember how many feature wins we got, but I know my last year in it, we had three out of, I think, 12 races or so, 12, 14 races. So yeah, we were starting to get better there at the end. It was getting tough. It was kind of like the truck series. Competition was starting to pick up. There's a lot more and more people getting invested into it. And then it was kind of that point where I was getting old enough where we were looking at what was the next step of where we were going to go after that.
Perfect segue for me to ask again. Where do you go after the Bandoleros?
Yeah, initially we did a lot of dirt track racing, actually. So my grandpa he's raced dirt his whole life, and he had a sport mod that he had ready at the time. And so I would go out to like Luxembourg Speedway, which is now Luxy Raceway, the Hill in Sturgeon Bay, 141, out of Gamey, kind of hit those tracks up. And it was great for me, honestly, because you actually get to learn what a out of control car feels like. Like on asphalt, you come in the corner and you're a little loose and you think the world's gonna end. But sometimes you gotta adjust on dirt, where if it's dry slick, you gotta baby it around the corner, or if it's fully tack and all around the track, it's just wide open as long as you can, and you're only hitting the brake just to set the car sideways so you can mat it again and then go through the corner. So I was really grateful for my grandpa to allow me to drive that, because it gave me a lot of experience that I never would have gotten on the asphalt scene. And like I said, I miss it a little bit. I won't lie. It was fun. So just there's always just so many different variables that you can't really account for. Like with the asphalt stuff, you're so calculated with everything to where, you know, if you take a half turn here, half turn there, that you're gonna be within the 16th of an inch of the track, or you're gonna feel the adjustment. Whereas sometimes the dirt stuff, it's like Grandpa said, sometimes you just got to throw it around. I'll never forget the one thing. That was first time I was practicing the sport mod. We're going to the track, and I think I was 15 years old, and my grandpa looked at me and goes, "Just so you know," he's like, "What do you do if you're heading towards the wall?" And I was like, "Well, you hit the brakes." And then he goes, "No, you floor it." And I was like, "Oh God, like what are we getting into here?" Because as a 15-year-old kid that's only race cars that stay straight, you're like going at the wall, and you're supposed to floor it. And I just couldn't understand that at the time. But I mean, after you drive them for a little bit, then you're going towards the wall. You have no option to floor it to try and break it loose. But definitely was scary the first time when I'm like, just got to trust Grandpa here and just let it eat. So
That brings up a memory for me. So I only raced a race car one time in my life. It was a Sizzlin' 4 at Wisconsin International Raceway. I took the night out from announcing and got in for my birthday. And one of the advice that the guys gave me is, when in doubt, throttle out. And
yeah.
that's kind of the same thing. So I'm chuckling at that.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's definitely when you hear it the first time, you kind of give a second look, like, did they just say that right? Like you're supposed to hit the brake. No, no, no. You gotta hit the throttle. So, but yeah.
But so many do say that if you really want car control, you should start in the dirt.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, and that's what my dad raced a little bit of dirt when he was younger. Like when he was at 15, 16, that's where he started because that's where my grandpa and my great uncle were driving. So they had cars there that they were racing. And I wish I could because we have a sport mod right now that's just a roller. I'd like to get that back up or I'd like to get that running and get that rolling again because if you can go back and forth with it, you gain a lot more control, and then it's I think it makes you a better driver overall because especially on asphalt, because asphalt sometimes you have to throw it around and people get scared about it breaking loose or anything. But now, especially with how, like I was talking about, with how precise we are with everything, you got to start throwing it around a little bit. I mean, even in the races, just on a week to week basis at the truck series, it's always on the verge of breaking loose. And like every now and then you're just getting a little twitch here, a little twitch there, but you can't go any slower because everyone else is at that pace too.
So what led you into the Midwest Truck Series then? Did you go from Sport Mod to the Midwest Truck Series? And what was that decision like to decide to go to the Midwest Truck Series?
Yeah, so it's kind of after the sport mod, I did a little bit with Matt Pyburn and his super stock. So I raced just a handful of races at Golden Sands with that, and then I think I raced two or three races with my dad's super late at Golden Sands. So kind of that time period in high school was a little strange for me. Just was very focused on sports and everything. So I didn't get to go to the track as much. And I think we only raced probably 3, 4 times a year. But yeah, like once we started doing that, was racing, my dad's raced with them years ago, and we've always been friends for the longest time. And they ended up buying a truck in 2021, and they reached out to me right away. It was kind of I was just graduating high school, and they were like, "Hey, would you be interested in running a truck?" And I said, "Well, of course. If I get to go racing, and all I got to do is work on it, and that sounds like a great deal for me." And at 2021, we just raced a handful of races. Definitely just still figuring it out. I think we ended up wrecking pretty bad the first night at State Park because we didn't start the season, so we came to that race with 4 new tires, and we had to start in the back. And I think there was like 24 trucks for starting at State Park Speedway, and that's that's kind of a tough draw there when you're starting in the back. And we caught some bad luck there, but no, that was after that 2021 year. It was kind of a talk like between me, Dad, and Matt and Jen and Jim at the time of do we want to pursue this thing full time? Because I mean that was Matt's ultimate goal, and Matt. I should say bring this back. Matt and Jim were always a part of my racing career, really. Like from because we used to live in their house when I was like 8, 9 years old. So I was always working in my go-kart out of their shop. My dad was working out of his super late model out of their shop, and he was racing for them part-time as well. And then they sponsored part of the Bandolero that I was running. That's why my Bandolero used to be the 41W, and it wasn't just 41 because it was from with their help that we were able to get that. And then it was always Matt's dream of like, I want to give you like a full season to go chase a championship with something. And that's kind of where it led us into the truck series of it was more affordable for them. They were doing a little bit of super late model stuff, but it was getting to the point for them where it was too much work and just not enough fun. Where I mean, the racing was always their getaway, their fun, and the super late model was set. They just thought that was taking it out, and the truck series was just built ramping up at that point, and it looked like the perfect avenue for us. It was a little bit cheaper series. Rule book was good. And like I said, it was giving me a lot of experience at all these different tracks, being kind of my first full-time season in anything, and then getting to go and try all these tracks. It was kind of the best of everything. And when we're talking about it, it was almost like it would be kind of dumb not to do it, it should be, it's going to be perfect. But yeah, and then we've been full-time ever since, been loving it.
What sports did you focus on in high school?
I was football, basketball, and golf. So I was always lifting for football, and then golf I was taking really seriously. I was at the course usually 4, 5, 6 times a week because we also had free golf at our home course too. So it was like be stupid for me not to go. I might as well take advantage of it, and because my dad always pushed me to golf too, because he goes, all the rich people love to golf. So if you can become a good golfer, and you never know, you get to go out with one of these CEOs, and he goes, you never know where it could go from there. He's like, just remember, always be good at golf. So
Hey, when I talked to you this the other day, and it was after we got done with the interview, tell the fans out there that I asked you a question. Did you ever race your dad? And then there's something coming up in the future. Can you tell the fans about that?
yeah, so I raced my dad one time in a super late model, but I never got to race side by side with him. I had to start in the back because we were late for qualifying, and then he had started on like the front row. So we never got to race each other. But this year we're building a new truck. So we will have two trucks with the Wiz Racing crew, and hopefully there's no timeline set on when it's going to be out yet, but we're at the latest. Hopefully we get it out by Marshfield, and I don't know if I want to go to Marshfield with my dad, with him having 3 track championships there, and I don't even know how many feature wins, but I think it'd be so cool to race against him. I know he would not take it easy on me. I think it would be some pretty dang hard racing. I think that it would be short track racing at its finest. There would be some door rubbing, and then it would be some laughs in the shop that week of, hey, you gave me this. No, you gave me this. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting, and like I said, this truck program we've built up here with Wiz Racing is getting pretty good now. We've got this truck pretty well figured out after last year. We got a good notebook built up, and it's kind of where we see ourselves for at least the future moving forward. So that's why we move forward with getting that new truck and hopefully going to take the next step with it. And then, like I said, having me and my dad racing together is going to be pretty cool.
So here's the burning question I got: who gets the new truck?
That one's going to be mine. So I think my dad kind of likes the underdog of it because he's got so much confidence, it's not even funny. So he's like, I don't care what truck I get, is I'll beat you either way. So I think the one time he told me, he's like, you're gonna need that new truck to try and beat me. But
You and your dad are one of the your dad is one of the funniest people I've met. That was a blast hanging out with you guys at Oktoberfest. We were talking before about that, but hey, it was last year the first like full season that you ran with the Midwest Truck Series?
no, so last year was technically only our second season full time with the Truck Series. In 2022, we went for Rookie of the Year. We made the full season there. Ended up 1 point short on Rookie of the Year. There was like the Kevin Zielinski beat us out, and He got a pass with like 3 laps to go that gave him the extra 2 points to get that. So that one stung a little bit. And then in 2023 we were racing full time, and then at Madison, actually, funny this is brought up. We broke a right front shock coming out of three. I think we were running third or fourth at the time. It was one of our best races of the season. We were kind of struggling in 2023, and we were having a really good race, and just coming out of four, just freak accident, shock snapped and sent us straight into the wall, and I could nothing to do about it, which ended our season. And then rebuilt that truck up, got a new stub on it, and then ran all of last year with that same truck. So this will technically be our third full-time season.
I want to talk about last year for a little bit. Heavily in the title hunt there, especially coming down to Oktoberfest, had a pretty good shot at it. What was that feeling like walking into Oktoberfest, knowing that you had a shot at it, and kind of talk about how your race went there?
Yeah, no, going into Oktoberfest, honestly, we had a lot of confidence. It's one of those tracks that we've done pretty well at. Technically, in my first year in the Truck Series, we raced at La Crosse, and I ended up finishing fifth in the feature with that. And so it was kind of it was my best finish with the trucks at the time, and it's one of the first tracks that I really felt comfortable at. So that's why we always look forward to going back to there. And like I said, last year going there, we were down 30 points or so in going into that last race. But I mean, in our minds, we really didn't think it was that far out of reach. You never know. We didn't know how Brandon was going to do. But we knew that we were going to have an exceptional trucker. We felt very confident in that. And we went there, and it started with fast time. Unfortunately, Brandon qualified second, so we didn't pick up too many points there, but we picked up a few points. And honestly, it was super cool getting that speeding bullet. That's the one thing that my dad doesn't have that I have now. So, and actually, I have a Midwest Truck Series feature win too. But no, it's cool to have that bullet. I mean, it's one thing that you look forward to, or everyone's looking to go get. It's the one fast time that if people could only have one fast time their entire life, it's to get the one at Oktoberfest. And to get that was really special, and the first one for Wiz Racing as well. But yeah, then going into the feature, like I said, we had a lot of confidence. We had fast time, and we had a really fast truck the whole weekend. So we were starting fourth row outside, and we liked the outside. We figured that was going to roll pretty well. That high side tends to be pretty good on those longer tracks to keep that momentum up with the trucks, and got off to a good start. I think it was about halfway through the race, and we were going underneath for third. And I think if we would have made that pass, we would have been only 1 point behind Brandon, because Brandon was falling. He was back to 11th at that point, and we were climbing up, and we were going underneath for third, and just come out of turn number 2 and got tire to tire with the guy. Like, we barely touched. It was just a tire to tire thing, and almost sent me spinning into the infield on the backstretch there, and which was kind of scary, because I was like, this can't be how our season ends. But yeah, we hit tire to tire, and then we dropped back 2 positions. And then another factor of the race, having the leaves on the grill. I mean, we had the motor pretty hot, and so once you get that motor that hot, you start losing power. And once we kind of dropped back there, I think we had kind of lost it. And I don't know, I think we knocked the toe out slightly. It wasn't bad, but just one of those things where all the little things matter. And leaves and knocking the toe out just a touch, it dropped back. I think we finished sixth. But yeah, it was definitely tough, because I think we had a chance to win it. And it would have been tough to get around Chester and Swan right up there in the front, but it's one of those things you never know. You wish you would have had the chance. But yeah, overall, we were extremely happy just having a chance at the championship. I mean, that's what we talked about last year, is just putting yourself in the position to succeed at every race, and in the season. And when you can put yourself in a position to be within a few points of the championship title at the final race, halfway through the feature, I mean, you can't really ask for much more. You had the opportunity. It just things didn't work out, and Brandon had an amazing season, and like I said, it just wasn't meant to be for us. But it definitely did sting a little.
Yeah, you're just like a typical racer, man. You'll always remember the ones that always got away. But hey, let's talk about the one that didn't get away this last weekend, man. Hey, when I got there at 9 o'clock, they were putting some of that sticky sauce down up in the upper grooves. Was it pretty much a true two lane racetrack, or did you find some grip on the high side? Tell us how your first win feature went there.
Yeah, no, that's the high side we've always really enjoyed at Madison. It just seems to be, even when they don't put the sticky stuff out there, it seems to roll pretty well. You keep that momentum up, and I don't know, it's kind of the drag strip front and back stretch, and then pretty tight corners for that long of a track. So I think just being able to round out that corner as much as possible really helps. And like I said, once we got out there, once that caution came out, I was really relieved because I don't know if we would have gotten to Moyer if it wasn't for that caution. He wasn't that far ahead of us, but we weren't really reeling him in at that point. Um, he just kind of gets strung out, and when when we're that close in times and everything, it would have been tough to catch him. But luckily that caution came out, and uh, Chester actually had poked underneath us a couple times with about 10 laps into the race, and he couldn't get by us. And once we got to that top side and he was underneath us, I came on the radio right when that caution came out. I said, I feel pretty good on the top side. Like it seems to roll really well. I mean, Chester couldn't get by us, and he seemed like he was handling better than us. He was able to exit the corner pretty low, but just like I said, once you kind of sharpen that corner just a little bit, it makes it tougher to keep up that speed. And so it's pretty much a no-brainer. We were going to high side if he was going low on that restart. And right away on that restart, I mean, we got a great run up there and got out there within a lap or two. And then that second restart, of course, there's another caution with like 8 laps to go. And it was second to caution flew. It was we're going to the high side because I feel really comfortable out there. I mean, the truck, we were just washing up a little bit in the center of the corner. It wasn't bad, but I was like, I don't even want to give him the opportunity to try and pinch me through the center there and out of the corner. I kind of want to control it. I got the high side. If I can keep the momentum up, I'm confident up there. That's what we're going with. And it rained true and able to keep that momentum up and get out there. And like I said, we didn't check away from him too far, but just had enough to get around him and then keep that lead for the last 8 laps. And yeah, it was special. I mean, I think I blacked out when I crossed the line. I don't even remember. I started screaming on the radio. The amount of relief it was after, gosh, 3.5 years now or whatever it's been. Just so many races and so close of like I felt like we could have had it if we were just in this spot. And like I said, this race finally got a good start. It was our best starting position in like 2.5 years in the truck series or something. It's first time we've been up within the first 2 rows in a long time. And I mean, it was like we went in the feature of just let's capitalize on it. We qualified really well, and then we got a really lucky dice roll, and then with Grant and Chester moving behind the invert, it was like we just had to take advantage of it. It was now or never was kind of our thought. We love Madison. We've always had fast trucks there. We had fast time at the Joe Shear last year there. And then the second time there, we had a really fast truck, just got caught up in traffic early and couldn't make up for it. So it was kind of like a one where we knew Madison had one coming for us. I'm glad it was a feature win that was coming for us. But yeah, no, the whole team was super pumped. I got the beer shower in Victory Lane, which was awesome. So I mean, just the whole experience, everything. I mean, all the smiles, embraces after the race, like that's why you do it. You look for those times like that. That's what keeps you going. And like I said in my interview, I said it's crazy we do all this work and all this for a 3 foot plastic trophy, but I said that 3 foot plastic trophy is one of the best things ever.
Hey man, how soon after you cross the finish line are you thinking about those things? How close you've been? The heartbreak at Madison when that shock broke. How soon after the start finish line are you starting to think about that?
Are you talking after once we crossed for the win there?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like it was just such a rush of emotions, I think, and I think it's all those times they hit you all at once. Of like you're thinking of the fast trucks you've had and the close calls, and if you would have picked this lane, that lane. But honestly, like right after the feature, it was honestly it was almost silence, but not of like in the mind of we can finally relax. We did it. We're gonna now we got that first one. We can go get more, but we just got to enjoy this moment because it doesn't matter about what happened or what's next. Right now, we're going to victory lane, and that's all that matters.
I think the camaraderie with the Midwest Truck Series, we had Drew on a few weeks ago talking about how cool that is, and all that. And I want to talk specifically about Aaron Moyer here because he had heartbreak last year. It looked like he was going to win, ended up having a tire go down after he got into the wall. Now he had to battle you. Talk more about your battle and how safe you felt with choosing the outside with Aaron, because Aaron's a very clean racer, like a lot of the drivers in the Midwest Truck Series. How comfortable did you feel racing with him?
Oh, I felt extremely comfortable. I mean, like you said, the guys in the truck series, they race so clean. And it's not a place you're gonna go and you're gonna destroy every body panel that you have. And I think that's what helps a lot with the decision making when you can go high, you can go low, just because there's not gonna be any tomfoolery, I guess, if you will. He's gonna race clean. Like I think he came in the second restart, he came into one, and he washed up into me and he barely got into me, but I was like, that's the worst that you could expect from a guy is like just maybe overdrove it just a tad and got into me. And it's racing. It's the way it is. But like you said, I have a lot of confidence with all those guys. I mean, we looked at the top six, top eight that we were starting with, and we were like, we got some fast trucks that we're gonna have to beat here. And we had Griesbach, Chester, Reichenberger, all those guys, and it's one of those things where they're all fast, but they're going to race you clean. So it's going to be a fair race, and that's what we've always prided ourselves on that as well as racing each other clean, or in our team, just making sure we race others how we want to be raced. And I think the Truck Series has really just created a solid foundation of clean, hard racing, and it's really cool to be a part of. And honestly, it was a lot of teams came up to us after the race, just congratulating us, and then telling us well deserved and as you were due for one, all that. It feels good to know that people are on your side and cheering for you. They see the hard work as well, and it's not just want to go at each other's throats every week. It's you want to see other people succeed in the series as well. Just like how we were talking to Moyer, me and Dad, and my dad's like, I didn't know who to cheer for. He's like, because we've always wanted Moyer to get his win too, but we're like, unfortunately, I'd rather I'd rather have us win in that moment. But I mean, he's one guy that we talk about constantly. Of, gosh, he's so close and in so many races, and he's got one coming because he's a really talented driver. He's always fast, dang near everywhere we go. And like I said, it's just that camaraderie in the truck series it's really something special.
Hey, you call it a 3 feet of plastic, man, but I thought that was one of the most awesome trophies I've seen in a long time. Did you find a place to put it, and where is it right now?
It's at the Wiz Racing shop right now. So Matt and Jen took that. That's kind of the deal that they'll have the trophies because I get to drive for them and work on the car there. But I'll get to see it plenty of times. I know, like I said, I go over to the shop. I'm over there constantly. So every time I walk in, I'll be making sure I take a peek at that. But no, it was a super cool trophy. Like to win the Joe Shear Classic. I know it's not the super lates, but it's one of those things where you can call yourself a Joe Shear Classic winner, and it's really cool. And then after after we had done, or we were sitting in the pits for a little while, we had Mark Martin came over, and he actually introduced himself to me, and I got to talk to him for a bit, and then he signed our, because you get the flag after you win in the truck series, and he signed our flag as well, which it was really just a cherry on top for the day. I mean, it was like, it was honestly a day you dream of. You go out there, you get your first win. They said beer shower and victory lane, all the embraces, and then you get to meet Mark Martin and get your flag signed by him. Like I felt like the little kid again. I just won the race, but I was the little kid again. Like, hey, can you sign my flag, please? But yeah, no, it was awesome. This the whole day, like I said.
Hey man, you got Hawkeye Downs coming up next in just over a week, 10 days or so. What are your thoughts about that place? Have you been there? Because last year, if I remember correctly, it was a monsoon out there, so they haven't been there in at least 2 years. So what do you know about Hawkeye Downs, and what are your thoughts about heading there next?
Yeah, that's well, it was Grundy that was the monsoon
Oh
last
yeah.
year. So I have never been to Hawkeye. My dad's only been there once. As far as I know, I don't think the Wiz team has been there at all ever. So it's gonna be interesting, but it's one of those things. It's a little bit bigger track, sweeping corners. It should play into our favor pretty well for the tracks that we generally excel at. Um, we don't know. We're probably gonna go there with a similar setup to one of our long tracks, like a lacrosse or something like that. But still talking that out. But we're looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. I always love going to new tracks. It seem to adapt fairly well. And like I said, those longer tracks seem to fit me pretty well and just kind of my driving style. And then also we're looking at it with it being 50 laps. It's a really long race for the truck series. And so having to start behind the invert, we were kind of like this plays into our favor the best because it gives us the most time to get to the front, you know. Hopefully, hopefully it's not us that is falling off at the end of the race, but hopefully if we can get the setup right in the short time we got there, we can have a good long run truck, and I think you're going to see people falling off at the end of the race, which you normally don't see in the truck series. They're usually short enough races that it's kind of a sprint and not a marathon. But I think this race at Hawkeye is going to be kind of that in between of like you gotta be ready for that long run because those last 10 laps you're going to see some people start to fall off.
Yeah, you're right. It was I was thinking of Grundy there accidentally.
Yeah.
Um, all right, last question here, man. What does the future hold for you? Do you see yourself racing in the Midwest Truck Series for as long as you can see? Do you think you'll race the Sport Mod a little bit more, go to the dirt route? Do you late model, super late model? What do you think in your future holds?
As of right now, we're committing to fully to the truck series. Ideally, we get that, like you said, the sport mod. We get it out at some point. I'll be graduating college here this fall, so hopefully that gives me some more time on my hands, get closer to home, and we can start getting some more race cars ready. But as of right now, we're just going for the truck series, and after last year, really just chasing that championship. It's I have yet to win a championship in any series, even just like the short in the Bandolero or anything. So it's one thing that I know I would love to go get, and I know my dad really wants to go get it for the team. And I said I know Matt and Jen would love that as well, and so that's why we're really just putting kind of all our eggs in this basket to go chase that championship and then make future plans from there. But like I said, as of this year, it's probably just going to be simply running the truck series, and then so never know if things happen where we get partnership in the near few years here. Maybe we go do some super late model racing, but like I said, as of right now, sticking with the truck series.
All right, I lied. One last question for you. Where are you going to school and what are you going for?
I go to UW Stout and I'm going for double major in mechanical and manufacturing engineering. So
Double major, huh?
yeah, double major. So
Wow.
we're in finals week right now. It's big push. So it's it's the fun time of the semester right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey man, I couldn't be more happy for you on your success. I mean, you've had so much success leading up to this point, but getting that win, so happy for you, your family, your team. It was awesome to see. I appreciate your camaraderie with me up at Oktoberfest. I can't wait to see you again at one of these races and chat it up with you. Just appreciate you. Congratulations, man. We'll let you go and prepare for more finals here.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me. It's always good
All right,
talking to you
man.
guys.
Good luck. We'll see you down the line, man, for sure. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mark, it was great to get to know Eugene a little bit more. Third generation driver. I was talking about it at my work today, just saying, third generation driver gets his first Midwest Truck Series win. He's been successful all the way up. Like I was telling you earlier on this thing, I was surprised that it was his first Midwest Truck Series win. We follow the Midwest Truck Series, but I guess I didn't put two and two together because he's been so fast and so successful. But awesome accomplishment for him and that one team.
Yeah, when I walked down to the pits, man, I actually had to ask him, like, this is your first win, right? Yeah, so I couldn't believe it either. But, when I walked up there, he was hanging really close to the trophy, man, So, I said, wow, nice trophy. Well, then Yuji was standing there. Hey, this was kind of convenient. So, got to talk to him real quick, got to meet him. And, yeah, heck of a guy. It looks like he has fun, lots of fun doing this stuff. So, and the Gregorich line keeps on marching, man. That's all right. That's okay.
For sure. Yeah. And, and that's the thing too. Like they're such a great team, such a great family. You got to root for people like that. And we meet all kinds of people like that throughout this thing and throughout the industry. I don't have a bad word to say about anyone. Everyone's been so great in the racing community.
Mm-hmm.
Racing is racing sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's a family. And man, they are so funny. They're so great to hang out with. They just have a great outlook on racing. They want it. You just heard it. They were maybe his dad was maybe rooting for Moyer to win. For a little bit there until his son had a shot at it. But that's the type of people they are, and you got to root for people like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, quite popular win, man. It was great. Yeah, that truck series, man, there was trucks everywhere, man. They filled the racetrack up at Madison, just trucks everywhere, and a heck of an event there.
Man, they are so great. That series is just awesome. There, and I know we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about the Joe Shear Classic with the Midwest Tour, another great series coming up later. And actually, we're so fortunate to have so many great series up here and so many great tracks to be able to go to. Next, we're gonna have on Matt Panure with the Tundra Super Late Models, talk about his upcoming season, last season, how that went, and a little bit about Wisconsin International Raceway. The Spring Classic is coming up here in 9 days. The pit party is the 15th. The 16th is the Spring Classic, and then the 17th is the Tundra Super Late Model Race, part of the Spring Classic, which I'm so excited to have that Spring Classic back at WIR, and very fortunate that they've asked me to announce for the Friday night showing there. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of divisions there, and I'm sure we'll talk about it next week as well. But we're so fortunate up here, man, and I can't wait to talk to Matt more about it.
Hey, let's go to the hotline. Maybe we can find Matt, huh?
I think you're right. Now is a good time. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Matt. Thanks for joining us again this year. Just about ready to kick off your season, huh?
Yeah. Good to have our yearly chat. Nice to check in with you guys.
Yeah, Happy New Year, man. I seen you 2 weeks ago. It sounded good. You sounded good on the mic down at Beaver Dam again, man.
Thank you. I felt a little rusty. It's been a while since the racing season has been on for me, but we'll be back in full swing here in just a couple of weeks. We have our Tundra race, and then we've got Thursday Night Thunder firing up right away, and then away we go, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we were talking in a chat not too long ago. Your 18th season out at Wisconsin International Raceway, my 17th. I don't know how that is possible, man.
I don't know either. And then when I look back to when I started announcing in 2003, now it's 20 some years of doing this. I always remember hearing guys like Todd Bailey or Joe Vertigan talk about how long they've been doing it, and I never thought I'd get here, but here I am. So, and here you are too. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's a good point to start here, I think. I was always curious about this. I don't think I've ever asked you, who were some of the people that you learned from as you were getting into the business? Like I always say you are the biggest reason of where I am today. Just you simply saying yes, teaching me the ropes, just listening to you. So who are some of those people, or who was that one person for you?
Joe Vertigan was the one that helped me get started off when he was announcing at Luxembourg back when I was in high school. I just decided to give it a try, see how it went. Ended up having a lot of fun with it. It got more fun the better and more comfortable I got. So I just kept going. One of my very favorites is Tom Wagner. I don't know if you guys have heard Tom. Tom is fantastic, and I think my favorite thing about Tom, and it is something I am incredibly envious of, is Tom will announce a race. He will not take a single note. He'll announce an incredible race, do such a great job, and then he will write the most detailed recap of that race, like he was doing nothing but taking notes the entire time. It is truly an incredible talent. So I really look up to Tom in that aspect. The way he can announce a full race, no notes, and then he this was, prior to people pulling out their phones and recording it themselves. So literally just doing it off of memory. It's just an incredible thing. I always look to Tom and wish I could do that, but sadly I don't have the capacity. So
Well, I think you do a good job writing the stories there too. Even if you're writing a few notes during the race there, you are a great announcer. You're a great writer there. So I think you're doing well for yourself. But hey, man, we had you on here kind of to talk about the Tundra Super Late models again here. A successful 2024 season. Kind of talk about what happened during 2024 for you guys.
yeah, we had a good year. We tried cutting back again just a little bit down to 5 races. We did 2 at Golden Sands, including the midsummer race. We stretched out the campaign quite a bit. I thought, despite we had some pretty tough car counts on a few occasions, so I'm sure we'll get into it. But as you can tell, we've made some changes for this year to try to change that. But our payouts still went up. We had our biggest payouts ever again last year, so now we have our biggest payout ever coming up at Kakana, and spoiler alert, there may even be a bigger payout coming up after that. We just we're not going to spill the tea leaves on that one just yet. But every year is a year of growth. Even if we look like we're going backwards, even if our car counts are going down, or it's happening to everybody, it's no surprise. Or if our races, we start to do fewer races. It's all about growth, and it's all about learning. And this year, something we've done, and it was pretty overdue, is we brought some teams in after the year, and actually pretty early on here yet in March, just to sit down and chat with them. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What do you guys like? What don't you like? What do you think we can do better? And they gave us some really great feedback. So nothing that's gonna break the bank right away. It's going to be some changes that are going to be slow and steady, that are going to help us grow through 2025 and onward. But I think it's really important. I'm glad that our teams were responsive to that, and that we took the time to do it, just to take the time all the way throughout 2024. We just listened to them, and we just said, hey, what do you guys like? What don't you like? What do you think of this? What makes this easier for you? Which races do you decide to do, and why do you decide to do them? And that's great feedback. It really truly is, and we're thankful that in 2024 we got a lot of that. We got a little bit this off season, and I'm sure as we go through 2025 we'll get plenty more. And we just you only take so much of it, right? Some of it's good, some of it's not so great, some of it is constructive, some of it's not constructive. But thankfully we've got teams that are candid. They'll let us know what they think, and we can work with them to make things better.
I talked to Casey Johnson after he won, and he said that, he's teaming up with Justin Mondyke, this year. And, when you talk about teammates, that's quite unique in your series, man. Talk about that. That it really works for this series, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's something that we've had for the entirety of the Tundra, the time Tundra's been around. Initially, when we did it, when we first went on the road, is we thought, okay, we have X amount of races up in the northern part of the state. We've got X amount of races down in the southern part of the state. And maybe these northern guys want to get in on this, but they don't want to go down to the south. And maybe the southern guys want to get in on it, but they don't want to go to the north. So maybe they could just pick someone to run the 3 races up north, and someone else can run the 3 races down south. And they can consider themselves a team, and they'll have something to race for. Initially, too, what it really was is we wanted to make sure we had cars in every race. We wanted to make sure that, hey, if this guy doesn't want to go to this race, someone's going to take his place. I think a great example of that was Jesse Poxic. I don't know if you guys remember Jesse Poxick. He's from Friendship. He wanted to run every race, but he did not want to run Jefferson. So a guy by the name of Casey Johnson really liked running Jefferson. So he became his teammate. And funny enough, we actually had a rule that very first year. We scrapped it quickly just because it was kind of a goofy rule. But where if you were going to team with somebody, you at least had to have the same number on your car. So Jesse was number 2. And Casey took his 5, flipped it upside down backwards and all thing, and had a 2 on his car the first time we raced. So bit of trivia for you, but it was kind of cool. And we've kept it, we've adjusted it. There are things that had to be done. When you can declare your teammate, how many races one person can run versus how many, so you don't just bring in a ringer for one race. Send a guy to Kaukauna because he's really good there, and then you take the remaining 4 or 5 races, whatever we have for the season. So basically it's just a way for someone to get involved, and if they can't do the whole thing, just to have somebody to back up. And obviously that's going to be a pretty power packed team there with Casey and Justin Mondike. And from what I was talking with Casey, it sounds like Justin might actually still come run Kaukauna too. There's a possibility there, in which case they would just have to let us know which one of them is the driver ahead of time, obviously, because we're not just going to let them take the race and then say, "Oh yeah, I was the guy." So again, just rules that we've had to put in place throughout the time, but we learn every year, and we leave it open because guys like to use it. And this year we did put in one new rule, which I think is going to be kind of fun. We made sure that everybody's got to have a team name. So it could be the Bush Light Buddies or Team 00 or what have you, but you got to have your team name this year.
Yeah, I think that's really unique about your series too, and I really enjoy the team driver there. I want to clarify something that you said there. So, do the drivers have to do a minimum of 3 versus 2 for your 5 race schedule? Is that the rule there?
Yeah, it's a 3-2 split. It used to be when we had 7, it was a 4-3 split, or even I think we might have even done a 5-2 split one year. But we just do it so nobody can. There were years where we went to lacrosse. Oh gosh, boy, wouldn't it be cool if I ran all the races, but I sent Steve Carlson to race for me at lacrosse? So we wanted to make sure that kind of stuff wasn't happening. And with the way we've got the schedule trimmed now, it's not as big of an issue, but it's just still something we're mindful of.
What other you talked about making some other changes. What are some of the other big changes that you made for 2025?
Well, we really flipped the script on our buy-in. I think there's no secret that tires are not getting any cheaper. When we started doing this, it's incredible to think. Our first year at Dells Raceway Park, $1,000 buy-in got you your 5 races. We were impounding 2 tires, so you ran the whole season for $500 plus whatever extra pit passes you had. Last year we did it. We're now up to 4 tire races just because there's a lot of things that can happen when you're doing 3 tires and 2 tires. We got to lug them around, and then guys are wondering if this guy has too fresh of a tire, and it's just better to know that everybody's on 4 fresh tires. So we've implemented that, and our buy-in is up to last year I think $3,600 for 5 races, which it's unfortunately that's a lot. That's a lot to bite off at the start of the season. No matter who you are. It's a big investment, and then if something goes wrong throughout the season, your tires are pretty much spoken for already. So we've got rid of that. We just made it straight up. It's a $400 membership for this year. We do include 2 free tires, so you'll get 2 tires to take throughout the year. So if you come to Kaukauna, you're a member. Maybe you take one, and then maybe you take one at the Dells when we go there on July 5th. 2 free pit passes at every race. So you're still getting your perks. It's all still there, but it's just scaled back to a more manageable amount, and then we'll do everything else conventional. You'll buy your race tires on race day. You'll buy your pit passes, unless you got a few free ones. So that also helps us build up the purses a little bit. So more pit pass money in means more money that we have to throw into the purse. So I guess people have probably noticed already, we're paying $6,000 to win. My sponsorship is essentially the same as it was last year when we paid $3,500 to win, but because we've moved things around a little bit, we're going to have some more money to give back to the drivers. So it's really all it is. It's a major math equation, and it's all about whatever we can get in, we're trying to get back to the drivers. There's nothing left in the Tundra bank account at the end of the year. I can guarantee you that. I'll show you the bank statements. It's all about getting it back to the guys, either through the payoffs at the races or through a point fund, or however we might give that away. But it's money in, money out, and the more money in, the better. So the more fans in the stands, the more money we have to give to the drivers, the more that keeps them going throughout the year. Not just with Tundra, it keeps them coming back to Kekon every Thursday. It gets them to the Gander race. It gets them to Oktoberfest. So fan support is everything. You hear racers say it all the time. It makes the world go round, and it gets through Tundra anyway. It gets funneled right back to the drivers. So more fans, the better, and the healthier we can try to keep the drivers.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
man.
Lauren.
I think Tundra does a great job of that. Has always done a great job about that. It is giving back and kind of being very affordable for the drivers there. Was that maybe something that you heard from the teams and drivers during the off season to make that change, or have you been thinking about that over the last few years?
This is something I've been thinking about over the last couple of years. If you take a look at some of the other events that happen in the area, everything is it's kind of along the same lines, right? 5,000 to win, 15,000 to win, 10,000 to win. And there's pop to that, right? And fans love to hear it because, that brings some prestige to the race. So that was some of the feedback we heard that we accepted, and then we said, okay, sure, for us, we're paying $2,500 to win. We're not having the drivers pay as much to get in. At the end of the day, a $2,500 to show the way we're doing it is close to a wash of a $5,000 show. But you don't get that excitement. And we learned that last year too when Ed Sologowski stepped up, did the Assembly Products North American Cup with us, and we ran a $5,000 show. And man, did that thing have some buzz! We had a lot of good drivers that were already signed up for that before it was going to be $5,000 to win. A couple more made their way in, and we had a great crowd at that race. We had a great race. Tristan Swanson winning that, and it kind of opened some eyes. Like, hey, if we can make some of these races a bit bigger, put some more pop behind them, it's going to work out better for everybody. So. Taking the low stakes, you guys have heard me say it a few times on this podcast. Low stakes gambling. That's what Tundra is, right? Well, we're gonna raise the bar a bit here in 2025, and we're gonna make the stakes a bit higher. And you know, the great thing really about last year that I was a little concerned about when we had that $5,000 win race was were guys gonna get a little more on edge at the racetrack, right? Are they gonna be a bit more competitive with each other? Is the is the aura in the pit's going to change? Are guys going to be looking over their shoulders a little bit more, not talking to each other, not having a good time like they do at Tundra races? And it didn't. It didn't change at all. So as long as we can, kind of keep that vibe in the pit area, that we're still a good time, we're still there to have fun. We don't want to take anything too seriously. We understand there's a lot of money tied up in here, so we're going to be mindful of that and take care of that. But we just want to put on good shows. We want the fans to come have fun. We want them to see some great racing and come back and see us again.
Hey, hey, we're less than 2 weeks away to getting the season started, man. Every Tundra race that could come to the start the season has been a classic. Every one of them. It's amazing that you start the season and we're looking forward to another one coming up here real shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, so another thing we changed this year is, if we're paying a little more money, we're going to make the races a little bit longer too. Again, raising the stakes just a little bit, so it's 96 laps this year. We're going to take a break, probably around lap 50, maybe a little bit before that. Lap 4, if we get a caution at lap 45, we'll take the break then, because teams need to refuel. So unbeknownst to me, before the season, and shame on me, I should have probably known this, but there's been a lot of changes to drivers and fuel cells that they've been using in their cars. So they don't use the big fuel cells a lot anymore. A lot of them have the smaller fuel cells. So they think maybe around lap 65, 75, they might start running out of gas at our race. So we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen. We're gonna stop it around 45 to 50, 50 for sure, no later than 50. But if we get a caution lap 45, 47, whatever, we'll throw the yellow, and we're just going to let them refuel, no adjustments, no tire changes. If they got to clean the windshield, that's fine, but nothing major for that. So it should make for a good show. Re-rack the field a little bit, bring a little drama in, see who saves it, see who doesn't save it. You know, that's always kind of the fun in the longer races, right? Like who's just sort of saving it for later, who's going to go to the front and then pace the field. Ty Majeski's great at that, right? Like he'll just get up front and then he'll start saving it. But yeah, it should make for an interesting day. We'll see who's on their game for 96 laps instead of 66.
Yeah, that's exciting news there. I told you when it was announced 6,000 to win, an incredible payout there for the opener at WIR coming up here. I want to go back to 2024 for a little bit here. I mean, you had the 5 races, you had 3 different winners. Mondyke won a few, Ty Frederickson, Tristan Swanson, you already mentioned. There's a lot of star power in the Tundra super late models, and it's going to continue here into this year.
Yeah, I mean, every one of those guys that you heard have put us on their schedules this year. So Justin Mondyke is on there. He's teaming up with Casey. We talked about that. Tristan Swanson's going to run the full series this year. Ty Frederickson is back. Brock Heinrich is back. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, the Dalton's here, John Beeler back. Andy Monday's teaming up with Nick Egan this year. The Jankowskis are teaming up. Corey Jankowski and his cousin, his nephew, I think, Harley, I believe is his nephew. Team Jankowski Racing. And then there's a few more registrations. Randy Schuler was the first one that he's been blowing up my phone. Not really a ton, but enough over the last even at the end of last season. He said, "Hey, I'm really thinking about doing this. I think you guys got a great deal. It's going to be a lot of fun." So we're looking forward to it. We got a pretty good contingent of cars. I think we're going to learn a little bit more about who might follow along with us the rest of the year after Kakana, because that option's open to them. But that always kind of happens. You get a couple guys, and then that was another reason for the membership thing too. Is if you weren't a member at Kakana, you came in, you had a good race, there was really no reason for you to come and tag along because you were sort of penalized for not buying in right away. So option be open. Maybe Sawyer Efforts wins again and decides he wants to come to Marshfield, and then he runs really well at Marshfield, and he wants to keep going. Maybe that's something we'll see in 2025.
Speaking of that, I was trying in the worst way to convince him to go up there. I think he had family vacation or something, because I think, specifically talking about WIR drivers like Sawyer, I think that translates well up to Marshfield, which I think is really cool. So transitioning from that track to that track, I was trying really hard to get him to go up there, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But hey man, continue with 2024, Ty Frederickson, rookie champion. I think the top 4 was separated by 67 points, if I'm not mistaken. Just an incredibly tight field that you had there.
Yeah, phenomenal year for Ty. I mean, he was everything he was advertised to be. We had watched him a little bit in his legend car, just because I've known Danny for a long time, having announced for the tour when Danny was really, really fast. And not saying Danny wouldn't still be very fast inside his race car, I'm sure he would, but it's interesting to see the metamorphosis of Danny as the dad now, the car owner, the crew chief, the spotter, and how good he and Ty work together. But yeah, he is the spitting image on the racetrack of his dad. He's fast. He's very, very clean. If you notice that too, I know Danny can get a little bit more aggressive, but Ty is very, very clean. At least he has been in our Tundra races. I can't speak to every single race that he's running. I'm sure somebody's probably banged fenders with him at one point and might want to disagree with me, and that's fine. But every race that he's run with us is just been fantastic. Clean, smooth, quick, gets to the front, smart racer, and obviously the correct choice to win the Kawicki development program. I thought that was a great job by him. Levon Van Der Eest did a fantastic job too. I think Ty just probably had him on edge with his racetrack. The on-track points, I think, probably got it at the end there because Ty had a really successful season last year. So, happy to see where he's going. Like I said, looks like he's got us on a schedule again this year. Hopefully, he does make all of our races and keeps the Tundra going. See if he could be the defending champion. And I think he's gonna have his work cut out for him. There's some good guys that are still gonna be around trying to take it away from him, but yeah, it's just we had him, and we had some Brock Heinrich too. Had a fantastic year. He was in the championship battle all the way to the end. He's a guy that I think is very underrated. just because he's a Central Wisconsin guy. Maybe you didn't hear a ton of him. He won a championship at Wausau, but he always runs really well at Kaukauna. And then he's just always it always just seems that there's one race that kind of takes it away from him every year with Tundra. And I think if you could put a full season together and just do what he can do consistently, you're gonna be talking about the Brock Star by the end of the year. So yeah, it's just 2024 was, I think, just a good indication where we're going in 2025. But I think there's a lot more on the horizon in 2025.
So in 25, yeah, we got Kaukauna, Marshfield. Then where are we going after that?
We're going to go to Dells Raceway Park for the North American Cup. That is July 5th. And then for the first time, we're going to do a co-op race where the Tundra racers are basically just going to head to Dells Raceway Park for the already existing Alive for 5 race. That's August 9th. And then if you're a Tundra member, we're going to see where you finish. And wherever you finish is the points that we're going to award you. So the highest finishing Tundra member could finish 3rd in the race. He's going to get 100 points as though he won a Tundra race. We're going to kind of smooth a few things out. We won't give points for qualifying or heat race or anything like that, just because our race format's a little bit different. But you could finish 6th and get 2nd place points. So that's good. It's a little bit of an experiment to see if maybe what we can do. I think you guys have all seen it. The summers get to be pretty congested with super late races, a lot of specials out there. So maybe if we can start working together here a little bit, not just by having dates, but maybe even leaving a few dates open on the calendar in case somebody has to have a rescheduled race, or just to give all the super late model teams in the area a breather for a week or two. I think they all could use that. But looking forward to that. That's it's going to be a bit of an experiment to see, and working with Jerry's always great. Jerry, I'll be there at Dells, so we're excited for that one. And then we'll wrap up with our normal Labor Day race, the Cleaver Classic. Once again, they're at Golden Sands Speedway, as we remember our buddy Cleaver. Last year was much better than the year prior, when we were fighting 99-degree weather or whatever it was there on Labor Day, which is something I was at work. I was explaining to someone how we do this racing thing, and some of the things that we go up against, rain and weather and all of this. And I said, never in my lifetime, when I started this, or even before, did I ever think that I would have to almost cancel a race on Labor Day because it was going to be too hot.
Yeah.
Like, it's just unreal. Of all the things, rain, wind, snow, a 99-degree Labor Day, we almost had to lose that show. But yeah.
Talking about Kaukauna coming up here in 10 days, exactly. Actually, Ty Fredrickson did take that win last year. The year prior, the first local weekly racer, Sawyer Efforts, took the win there. That was a huge deal. That was the 10th annual one here. So we're talking about 12th annual Tundra race here, starting up at the season at WIR here. Like Mark said, it's always been a great race. Why do you think Kaukauna suits Tundra so well, and why it's become these classic races that we've seen time and time again?
It's an interesting mix of drivers, really, that it comes down to. I think if I look back at when Steve Apel came in, if you remember Steve Apel, red, white, and blue champion, he came and ran the Tundra race a couple of times prior to that and won one and ran really, really well. And before that, Slinger guys just were they good at WIR? Were they not good at WIR? How do you take a car from a quarter mile like Slinger up to Kaukauna? And then Dennis Prunty won it a few times, and suddenly all these Slinger guys, I think they won maybe like 4 out of 6 or something like that. And they weren't necessarily even Tundra guys; they were just coming into steal. So it's just such an interesting mix. Ty Fredrickson, first time on the racetrack last year, he comes and wins it. You have Dalton Zier, who is always up there in contention. He'll be back for that race. He probably should have won that thing 4 or 5 times by now, and he's won it once. I think about the time April won. Dalton was way ahead. He had set the track record earlier in the day, and I think they broke an A-arm bolt or something like that on the last lap. And he just kind of limped to the finish line. April passed him in 3 and 4 and ended up winning the race. Ty Majeski's won that race a few times as well. So we've had just such an interesting mix of guys, and I think this year, especially with the extra money on the line, you're going to see a few extra names that maybe are going to be a bit of a surprise for you in a good way. that are going to come in and try to take the money away. I was just talking to Jeff Storm today. He's fully committed to coming in. He ran a couple of years ago and had a lot of fun, so he's excited about coming to try to take the money and just having a good time. But yeah, it's an interesting mix, and I think for the fans that come to the Thursday night races, are loyal Thursday night fans. You got to come and check out and see how your favorites stack up, because they'll be there. Sawyer Efforts is going to be there again. Andy Monday is going to be there. So those guys are there to try to take it away. I'm still waiting to hear back. I think there's a couple more that are yet to commit, but it's always the fun part is, sometimes it takes guys like until the Wednesday before to commit. So I don't like to throw names out there until they do. I don't want to tell you somebody's coming and then all of a sudden they decide they can't, or something happens. So I try to be as honest as possible.
I was going to ask, are there any names that you can announce that have committed weekly or from other sites other than the ones that you just mentioned, of course?
Yeah, I think we talked about a few of them. Obviously, we've got Casey. He's going to be making his first start with us in a couple of years. Dalton Zier is going to be back. Ty Frederickson is supposed to is planning to join us. Sawyer Efforts, he'll be going for another win. It's a good mix. Jeff Storm. We're gonna have some interesting new people involved. JJ Vanderloop had a really nice rookie season last year. He's gonna make his Tundra debut. His cousin Cody, he's gonna be running too. I was talking to Chad Butts today. Unfortunately, he will not be racing because he is going to be crew chiefing for Cody Vanderloop. So that'll be an interesting mix there. We'll see how that is. I told Chad, don't give Cody all your secrets, right? Because had a really good season last year. But Grant Griesbach's going to be in the field. Grant's been very, very fast. So there's going to be no shortage of contenders in this race.
How many drivers are you predicting somewhere around? I know that can be hard as well, and I put you on the spot just a minute ago, but how many drivers are you maybe expecting, or what's the range that you're maybe expecting to come up for Kaukauna?
Always hard to tell. Like I said, we're in about the mid-20s firm commitment. Could shoot up to 30. I think 30 is probably pretty good. Ceiling could be a little bit higher than that, but we still got to hear from a few of the locals, right? Like Lowell Bennett's still kind of waiting to hear on him. I believe the 47 car, I know they've got it on their schedule. And now we just got to find out who they're going to put in the car. And that, by the way, is they've had fantastic races at Kaukauna, that 47 team. So that's another one. I don't mention the name yet because, we don't know who's going to be in that car, but let's just say, granted, that'll be a contending race car. Unless they put me behind the wheel, then they're out. But if it's Riley or Jacob Gady or whomever, they're gonna have a pretty good shot. So, it's exciting. I try very hard to get a good list of cars together, and then there's always that surprise at the last minute, or somebody has something happen. Life happens. It's never a big deal, but. We're gonna make sure that we put on a good show for the fans one way or another.
Is there an undercard series running also that day?
Yeah, so for the first time in a while, we're gonna have the pro late models. So your Thursday night late models are gonna be there. There are gonna be a few outsiders that are gonna join us, and we're gonna run that race in memory of Al Gulicki, who passed away this off season. If you're not familiar with Al is Mr. Carburetor. They called him the Alburator, which is why we're calling the race the Alburator 28. 28 was his number when he raced. Lots and lots of winning carburetors were worked on by that man, and he is just super nice guy. Worked hard, quality product, great service to racers, big time helper, and it was kind of a brainchild of my dad and Mike Egan, who were together at Al's wake. Afterward, they had a little discussion and decided, hey, maybe we should do this. So Mike Egan jumped in. He got Bonafide to make some really cool trophies for the race. Barrel stepped up. They're going to be paying the winner's purse, which is $1,000 to win, which is a pretty good chunk of change for those late model drivers. And another thing that's really cool too is we're working directly with a Fox River Racing Club. So typically what would happen is if there were some sort of special race, basically you got to pay for your 4 tires, and then those 4 tires are gone. You're not using them again because they're not stamped, they're not this or that. The FRC is going to allow them to take those tires. So they won't be, if they want, they go bank them, they can use them at a later time throughout the year. So it takes down some of the expense for them, which is going to be good too. So just very thankful for the response that we've had there. I've talked to Mike Egan quite a bit. He's very excited about it. Just talked to Brian Henry on the phone a little bit earlier today. He's pretty excited about it. I think we're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 already committed for that. And then Brian and I were talking, and I said, okay, well, here are the people I have committed. He's like, well, this guy's coming too. This guy's coming too. This guy's coming too. So we might be a little north of 15, which I think would be great. 20 would be awesome. So, if you get 30 super late models, you get 20 late models, racing for a lot of money to win on a beautiful day. Well worth it.
Sounds good to me, man.
Yeah, I was gonna comment. In the mid 20s, that's incredible. You started this thing by saying car counts are counted down everywhere, but mid 20s is phenomenal. 15 late models is damn good. So there are some positive things here to take away from it.
Yeah, and I think it, like I said, it's a product of trying to communicate a bit more with our teams this year, and it's always a process. I will never be satisfied with a Tundra field until we hit 50. So, uh, seemed pretty unlikely. I get it.
It's a good
Um,
goal.
yeah, when we started that first year, we had 42, I think, twice. We did it at Kakon, and then we did it again at Slinger for our closer. And I thought, okay, this is gonna be great. One of these years, we're gonna get 60 at one of these races. And boy, I'll tell you, since that time, that was 2013. Car counts everywhere just kind of started to slip, and yeah, it's tough. It's the economy. It's everything. It's people that just racing is not part of their lives anymore, and that's fine. I get it. Lauren, you get it. Mark, you get it. There's a lot of other stuff outside of racing that can eat up your time in a hurry. So, you know, 20 and 25 is great. You put on a good show. You get quality guys in there. You get guys that maybe are a little bit of a dark horse up and comers that are going to come and put on a good show, have a chance to race with those guys and get better. Um, yeah, that's really all we can ask for now here in 2025 is just to put on some solid shows, fill a good field, and make sure that the racing is of high quality and that we as the people putting on the race make it a good time for the fans. We're moving the show along, keeping them informed, keeping them excited. There's a lot more to just getting the cars there, right? We all know we gotta keep the fans engaged too, and we're looking forward to that.
I want to not end with this because I get thought of something else. But you mentioned doing the race for Al Cool. You mentioned the Cleaver Classic. You also have the Bev Ashenbrenner up at Marshfield. You and the Tundra Super Late Models do a great job at creating these memorial races. I think it's important to everyone, and obviously to you and Tundra too. How did those things come about for you, and kind of talk about those people a little bit?
Yeah, they all kind of came about organically, quite honestly. Last year we remembered Tom Refner with the Blue Knight 88, and it kind of got to a place where I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago we were just one short of not having a memorial race, and quite honestly, it'd be great if we had no memorial races and everybody was still with us, right? If we still had the Bear, if we still had Beth Ashenbrenner and Bob this year too, unfortunately, if we still had our buddy Cleaver, if we still had Carl Wagner, um, if we still had Ed Soligowski. But this is what we try to do to remember these people because they've been huge influences on us as Tundra. The Bear, Roger Regath, Hall of Fame race car driver. Everybody remembers him. Al Golick, he's a good friend. His shop was right next to my dad's. He saw him saw him a couple times a week. Um, the Ashenbrenner family. I've known them for a long time. They came to the Mid American Stock Car Series banquet a few times back when I was announcing for the Mid Am Series in the 2000s. Carl Wagner. Tundra Series would not be anything close to what it is without Carl Wagner. Him and the friendship of Tom Litchfield, who obviously Tom Sharon were owners with me prior to them taking off in 2022. Um, you know, Carl was a huge influence. Ed Saligowski, we're going to remember him this year at the North American Cup as well. Ed was just he was a great friend, just someone who loved racing, and someone who's very proud of everything that he accomplished and did, but not in an arrogant way at all. So always loved talking to Ed. Just super great guy, uh, biggest heart, give you his shirt off his back kind of guy. So, we don't want to. I really wish Ed was going to be with us this year, just because he put a lot into last year's race, and really wanted to see it grow, and I wanted him to have the opportunity to see it grow, and we'll give him, hopefully something to watch from up above. But him, and then Cleaver. If you ever met Gale, if you met Cleaver before he passed, everybody knew Cleaver was just this larger than life guy that he loved racing, and it didn't matter how bad of a day I was having at the racetrack, because there have been bad days, but Cleaver would always put a smile on my face one way or another, and that was a great man right there. And Gail is super. She made this beautiful quilt for my daughter, and just a great family. That these are people that have affected us so along the way. That like I said, really wish they were still here, but we're never going to forget them, and this is just one way to make sure that we never do.
Well said, man. I feel the same way, obviously. So I wanted to end with this. What are you looking forward to most on Thursday nights when that starts up, and Tundra Series, I guess?
Oh, Thursday nights. Let's see. Well, I don't know. I work in the office. It's a lot closer now. That's going to be great. So it's just a little 5-minute cruise there from US Venture over to WIR. As you know, Lauren, I think we have the most fun tower in all of auto racing. So I'm looking forward to that with you, Eamon, Mike, and Kyle, who's joined us now. So uh, that's a lot of the part that you folks don't see, and it's probably better that you don't. Uh, but we do have a very good time there, and yeah, just looking forward to a great season of racing out there. That All-Star Challenge is going to come to town again, which I was so bummed when that got rained out last year. I think that's going to be a really cool show. And then for the Tundra Series, I take it race by race. I'm really looking forward to Kekona, especially now that we've got all of our sponsorship locked in, ready to go. We've got pretty much all the gears turning in the right direction. Now it's just a matter of getting there with some nice weather, and then we're on a Marshfield, for another very important race. Remembering Bev, and we'll be remembering Bob this year too, and we want to put together a really good show there, because Marshfield is one of our best crowds of every year. Those fans are amazing out there, and it's a great facility. I hope you guys can make it, because that is one of my favorite races of the year. It is just a good time out there. Very nice, relaxed atmosphere. Racing's good. Lots of room to race on that track. So we'll look forward to Kekona now, and then we'll look forward to Marshfield, and we'll look forward to Dells, and then we'll look forward to Dells again. Then we'll look forward to Plover, and then we'll look forward to hockey.
You're still a hockey guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oilers are still going.
They are, yeah. Maybe. Fingers are crossed, man.
I didn't see the final from the other night. Did they win, or did they end up losing?
No, they won 4-2.
Nice.
Yeah, so
nice. Mark's Avs got knocked out a little while ago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I love the Stanley Cup playoffs, but man, do those West Coast games ever get you? Because they start at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
They run till 12:30, and then I am way too amped or angry to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Staff my wife. I'll just be laying in bed, like scrolling through Twitter or X, pardon me, after the game, looking for people like, oh, who screwed up the game? Who did this? Who thinks this guy's bad like I think? Or who thinks this is cool? Let's see that highlight again. And I'm just like, finally 1:30, I crash. And then, of course, the daughter's up at like 5:30. So
naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't pick the smartest teams according to our location because
No.
I'm with you. Being obviously right now we are not. Our best shot is for number 1 and number 2 picks, which we got number 2 by the way. But we're getting better. The Sharks are getting better.
Yeah, all in due time. All in due time.
That's
I
right,
had to
man.
wait through it too. Hey, believe me, I've been there.
Avs did too. I was just telling Mark that he was kind of making fun of me. I was like, well, back in 2016, you guys had the number 1 pick too. I think that was
They were off.
McKinnon.
They were off
And
the
it
boat
takes
for
a
a while.
while.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, man, always enjoy chatting with you. Can't wait to see you here coming up here in a week or so. Appreciate it. Looking forward to another great Tundra Super Late Model Series. I agree with you on Marshfield, by the way. Love Marshfield. Got a few times to work up there too. Great track, great people to work with, great fans, everything up there. You're right. If fans, you should get to every Tundra Super Late Model race, but Marshfield should be high in your list as well as Kaukauna and Dells and Plover there. So. Anyway, appreciate it, buddy, and we'll see you here in just over a week.
Yeah, and just want to give a quick shout out too. Don't forget that whole race weekend coming up here at Kaukauna is a race weekend. Thursday pit
Yes.
party, Friday racing on the quarter mile, Saturday racing, and then a band after Whiskey Ditch. You got to be careful how you say that, by the way. Ryan Manthe going to be rocking out with his band, and all of that, of course, thanks to our buddies at Great Lakes Testing. Couldn't do without Great Lakes Testing every year. Those folks are absolutely phenomenal. So come on out. Be ready for an entire weekend of a good time.
Hey, speaking of Whiskey Ditch and Ryan Manthe, I have yet to actually meet Ryan Manthe, but Simon Hedin, talking about hockey, I know him from announcing with the Deacons, part of that band as well, and I don't know if I've ever seen them play, so I'm really looking forward to that too.
You'll enjoy it. They are phenomenal, and they're a great time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. All right, hey, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
We'll
See you next week, man. All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, Mark, it sounds like the Tundra Super Late Model Series has some exciting things in store for 2025. Heard Matt talk about some changes they made. The payouts sound amazing. $6,000 to win at WIR coming up here in 10 days. That's incredible. Sounds like payouts going forward will be better too. You heard him say that. So sounds like they have some great things in store, and it's such a great series. And the Panure family is just amazing.
Yeah, we love supporting that series for sure, man. So, yeah, like I said, them openers at Kaukauna, man, every one of them has been a classic, man. It's just been just a super way to start the season every year, and then it just goes on from there, man. So
Yep.
we're looking forward to it for sure.
Oh, no doubt, man. Well, let's talk about some news here, and then I think we're going to talk. Actually, you know what? Before we get into news, let's talk about Madison down at the Joe Shear Classic. A phenomenal event there. You were down there, unfortunately. Like I said earlier, I was unable to go, but we'll start with the Midwest trucks down there. Obviously, we had Eugene on earlier. He took the win in the trucks. Eugene Gregorich III had a great battle with Moyer. Moyer, I talked about it with Eugene. He had some heartbreak there last year, and has been so close to winning down there. You felt for him, but Chester Ace was third. Griesbach, Curtis, Reichenberger, Refner, Rux, Meyer, and Noble were the rest of the top 10. It looked like a phenomenal race, man.
It was a phenomenal race. Our buddy James Swan, he blew his truck up down there, earlier today, and he got into a different truck, and he actually got turned into turn one wall, and it was a grinder. But we went down to the pits, man, and it was just like every drop of oil was underneath that 97. I mean, that thing grenaded itself big time there, so that was unfortunate. But really a good classic. The trucks always put on a great show right there. Nick Van was having some issue keeping his truck keeping it straight, but nobody collected them and didn't get no damage out of that. And so, yeah, it was an awesome event, dude.
Yeah, it looked that way. And then, of course, the Joe Shear Classic. Casey Johnson takes that one over Gabe Summers, Mondyke, Bilderback, Nason, Gady, Vandergeest, Stenjum, Edmonds, and Kaler. Paulie Schaefer had a hard wreck. It collected Ty Fredrickson, who also hit hard. Very thankful to see them walk away. Ty Majeski and Nason made some very slight contact in turn 4, but it ended up bad for Majeski, and a few others spun during that incident too. But overall, a clean race and a great finish with Johnson and Summers.
Yeah, it was a typical good race, man. And, yeah, it was amazing when you watched the first half of that race, and all the ones that pretty much ended up front, they were waddled in the back until they finally got in and got to do an adjustment and put fresher tires on, man. And all of a sudden, some of them cars just took off, like Mondyke and Gabe was in the back, and Johnson was back there. One person that didn't really improve was Dalton Zier. He was kind of mired into the middle, and he didn't really come to the forefront. But just another classic 200 down there, man. And man, the stands were the parking lot. They were parking on the road once again up the hill outside the pits there. The parking lot was just packed to the hilt, man. And went over there and tried to see if he could get a bite to eat or at least get a soda pop, and the lines were just so long, dude. So that's all a good thing. Everything was a good thing about that, man. It was a perfect weather day. It was just perfect all the way around.
Yeah, man, it was a perfect day down there. Happy that so many people went to support that event, the track, the McCarnes family. Also Mark Martin was there. Seemed like Mark was everywhere signing stuff for a ton of fans, was very gracious with the fans, which he always is when we see him. And, it sounds like he's coming up to Kaukauna to go into the Circle of Fame. I think that's June 19th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you're correct.
There. So he's supporting short track racing up here. He kind of grinded his teeth up here, made his way from here down to NASCAR, and he's given back. So that was awesome to see down there as well.
And he was everywhere. It was amazing. All of a sudden, I'm in the pits, he's over there. And also, you walk around, he's over there. And then he was up there, and he spent the whole 2 hours meeting the fans. People were bringing out some really cool stuff for him to sign. I got to talk to him, and I said, "Hey, you're coming up to Kaukauna June 19th, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Good, we'll chat then." So yeah, I got confirmation that he is coming for that. So his wife. Isn't her name Judy? I'm guessing at that. But she was just as happy with the fans, too. And she was walking around and talking to people and like that. They enjoyed their day, man. They enjoyed being back at Madison. And all the fans, man, the fans sure did enjoy the whole deal.
Man, that's outstanding. Yeah, it looked like such a great time. Kudos to everyone involved. That made it a great event there, and all the fans for showing up and supporting, because it just looked awesome.
It was, man. It was perfect day. Couldn't be any better than that.
Yep. Well, I'm going to switch it up. I said we would talk about news. I'm actually going to continue down the racing thing here, and we'll end with news. Formula One had a race down in Miami this weekend. They had a sprint race too, which is kind of a shorter race. I think it was 19 laps there. Lando Norris took that one over Piastri, Hamilton, Russell, Stroll, Tsunoda, Antonelli, who was a rookie, by the way, Mark, and was on the pole for that. So that was very impressive. Gasly rounded out the top 8 there. The top 8 got points. Hence why we're talking about the top 8. And I tell you what, it rained pretty hard on Saturday, so they had to deal with that down there as well. But Sunday,
that's typical Florida. Your afternoon thunder shower. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Sunday was better. McLaren swept the weekend there. Norris's teammate Piastri took the win over Norris. Russell, Verstappen, who was on the pole, he had a good run, but after the McLarens got by him, that was kind of all she wrote. Albon, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz, and Tsunoda were the rest of the top 10 there. But, it's good to see F1 in the United States, and it looked like a great event down in Miami.
good, yeah, because they haven't been around in the United States for the longest time, man, and it's starting to come back now. Now we got to sprinkle in some drivers, huh?
Yeah, for sure. And their next race is going to be in a week and a half in Italy at Emilia Romagna racetrack there. So that'll be May 18th coming up. For IndyCar, they were down at Barber Motorsports Park. Tell you what, Alex Palou, dominant once again. So he won 3 out of the 4 races that IndyCar has had. Lundgaard had a very nice run up to second in his McLaren. That was impressive. McLaughlin fell to third. They kind of had a pit strategy that didn't work out, and he was trying to become a three-time winner of the event in 3 in a row. He was trying for a three-peat there, and it just didn't work out. Rinus VeeKay had a good run in fourth. Power, Award, Herta, Rossi, Siegel, and Newgarden for the rest of the top 10 down there at Barber.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that, live, and interesting racetrack, sweeping corners and quite a different kind of layout there. So, yeah, it looks like an interesting place to race there.
So IndyCar, actually, let me say this: they call Barber Motorsports Park like the Augusta of IndyCar racing. So Augusta referring to the Masters. It just looks like a beautiful course down there. So that's what they're calling that. IndyCar now is in Indianapolis for the rest of May. They will be racing this weekend on the road course. So that'll be May 10th at 3:30 down at the road course on Indianapolis. And then they got a bunch of stuff preparing for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 on Memorial Day Sunday there. So.
Yep. So, they're in Indy. So that's where they should be in May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the road course is on Saturday. They're going to be running that on Saturday, aren't they?
It is the 10th of May, which is Saturday. Yes, you are correct.
Yes, because they're normally run on Sunday, but this one's going to be moved to a Saturday. So, all right.
Yep. I think I did say Sunday. I didn't say the date. So Sunday, they're racing down there.
I was kind of trying to figure the numbers out. It's like 3rd, 10th. That was Saturday. So, okay. Yeah, I figured that
out. Yeah, let me just confirm that here just to make sure that it is. Yep, it's Saturday. So on Fox. So stuff's leading up to it on FS1, but
everything's on Fox and IndyCar. So, yep. So, there you go. You can get your fix on Saturday.
Yep, and we'll talk about more of the TV schedule coming up here, but let's continue with the Texas weekend here. We'll go into the truck series. Big incident kind of earlier in the race. Ruggiero hit the grass for a second time, and this time it didn't work. It destroyed his truck, and he collected Honeycutt and Jones. Big hits there in stage 1.
That grass, man, it just we haven't seen grass tear cars up for a while until this time. They had a lot of rain down there and everything like that. But yeah, boy, you touch that corner, like they say, you can't see past the guy, in front of you. So you're kind of leaning over. Boy, when that valence catches that dirt, man, it just tears the front end of them off.
Yeah, it does. Very hard impact there initially. And then, going into the wall, 2, if not 4 tires got off the ground for Ruggiero.
I'm still mistaking him for Taylor Gray. Okay, right away, I wrote down right away Taylor Gray, and also I look up, that's not Taylor Gray, and I'm still trying to get used to having Ruggiero in that 17 truck.
Yeah. Enfinger would win the first stage. Heim would win the second there. Enfinger actually got by him on the restart, but Heim got back and kind of sailed to the win there. There was some pit strategy in between here. And actually just before the stage end, Riggs got a run to the inside of Luke, and they made some contact. Lane would spin, and he got destroyed by the grass as well. And then Luke found out that the battery kind of got knocked loose there.
And that was the end of that. Yeah, it had no power, man. It died on him.
Mm-hmm. Hocevar had a couple of battery dies there, die in the race. There's a close call for Ty and Chandler Smith there. Can't believe that wasn't a wreck. Nunez wrecked and was pretty upset about it. Friesen got loose and collected Enfinger and Chandler Smith, and a red flag would happen. It would go into double overtime, actually, where they went 3 wide for the lead during the white flag between Hemrick, Heim, and Rhodes. And Heim shot to the middle and ended up picking up the win there. It was Heim, Hemrick, Carruth, Ankrum, Tanner Gray, Rhodes, Crafton, Curry, Sutton, and Majeski. Rhodes was a little upset with Heim for the way he got raced out of turn 4. Heim kind of pushed him out of the groove a little bit, which allowed Hemrick into the picture. And that really affected Rhodes because Rhodes fell back to 6th there. But that's part of racing, I guess.
All in all, though, Heim just definitely dominated that race. And then when you see the green-white checker come up, it's like, okay, you just sit back and say, well, this is natural and see it happens. That first green white checker, all of a sudden Heim didn't have the lead right away. And, but they went back to the scoring loop. And once again, it's one of those really close ball and strike count. And Heim had the position on there and got to pull it off. Still ended up being an exciting finish there, dude.
It was very exciting, yeah. That time, Carruth looked like he was going to be the leader, but Heim beat him out at the other scoring loop there, like you had mentioned.
Yeah.
So the fastest lap went to Hocevar, 29.742 seconds, or 181.561 miles per hour. They'll be going to Kansas here next, and we'll make our picks and talk about that here in a little bit. As far as
Hocevar sure knows how to get around Texas, man. If the battery kept not dying on him, he would have been relevant. And he also got the pole in the Cup Series. So, wow, that dude can get around Texas.
yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the Xfinity Series here. Early on, Eckes and Ellis made contact. Ellis spun, and Bilicki also spun in a separate incident there. Thompson also brushed the wall. That was on lap 2. This race had a hard time getting going, Mark. Lap 7, then a few cars hit the grass. They wrecked some cars there. Lights, Sammy Smith, Honeyman got involved on that. Again, that was lap 7. Allgaier would win the first stage. In stage 2, Wright would slap the wall out of turn 2 and spin. The stage would enter caution where Hill would win it.
Yeah, so there was all kinds of action going on for the first 2 stages there, man.
Man, cars and trucks hitting the grass don't go well, and there was more of it. More cars went through the grass on the restart and wrecked there. Williams, Alfredo, others involved. Creed and Day would make contact and collect Jesse Love. It looked like Creed probably thought Day would be higher up, but it looked like Day maybe thought about going 3 wide through the middle. So that's what started that thing.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of stage 3 there. So that was going on then.
Close call for Allgaier and Larson for the lead. I tell you what, they've had a couple of close calls for the lead this year. I think back to Bristol a few weeks ago. And then Wright, he was laps down. They were trying to get by him again. Allgaier was, but he didn't choose a lane. And Allgaier got into the back of him. Wright spins. Allgaier spins and hits the wall. And wow, Allgaier was leading prior to pit stops, and this happened just after pit stops. So that was heartbreaking for Allgaier.
Yeah, that's for sure. That was my pick, dude. And you probably heard all the way from Madison what I yelled, and I probably should go to church after I got done with that. And
Yeah.
I was rather upset about that. Just like, if you're a lap car or whatever, you shouldn't be going high, low, pick a lane this way, that way. It was just unfortunate, bad circumstance there.
And it sounded like Wright's team, we talked to Dan Stillman. He's the crew chief on that car. It sounded like they were saying, hey, you got to pick a lane. So they were trying to teach him. So it's a learning moment there. But I'm sure Allgaier, I wouldn't care if I was Allgaier. I mean, that's a bad deal for him.
No, but that pretty much started that right there. Set the table for Larson, and we didn't know he was going to be in that vehicle till Wednesday, because Zillitz has got a bad back from hitting head on at Talladega. So yeah, nothing like picking one of the best drivers out there of Larson and throw him in that vehicle. That's a tough one to beat there.
The other funny thing was, Dale Jr. was talking about, wanting to compete against him and see if they can beat him. And here he ends up in a junior motorsports car like a week or 2 later. So kind of ironic there. But anyway, Day would spin and hammer the tire barrier. The tires even broke away and flipped in that barrier.
Yeah, never saw that before. So you see these guys trying to pry them tires and get them back into position there.
Yeah. Hill got loose in 3 and 4 and tried to tuck back in behind Sammy Smith, but he got into Sammy, who got into the wall pretty good. And that was unfortunate because Sammy worked very hard to recover all day after catching someone earlier. And so that was a bummer for the 8 team. And it would go into overtime here.
Yeah, yep. And then we got another green-white checker, Van. So, yeah, that's what we expected.
And we get another one after Clements backs into the wall hard, which was also unfortunate because he was on the backside of the top 10 for a while too. So that ruined his day. But Sanchez would then get into the wall. Mayer went too high. Kyle Larson would end up taking the race over Taylor Gray, Herbst, Hill, Mayer, Harrison Burton, Love, Ryan Sieg, Jones, and Jeb Burton. It's been announced today that Daniel Dye's crew chief, Kevin Walter, is suspended for Charlotte race, which is where they'll go next, and fined $10,000 for missing 2 loose lugs following the race here at Texas.
Yep, 2 loose lugs will get you disqualified that way. But yeah, so Larson was the one to beat after that, man, and didn't prove anybody wrong there.
Yeah. Allgaier had the fastest lap of the race, 29.824 seconds, or 181.062 miles per hour. The Cup Series, then, you're right, Hocevar was on the pole, which was kind of an underdog story there. And then shortly after the race got going, Gregson went around after getting to Suarez's outside. Hamlin, Blaney, Nemechek were all caught speeding there. There was some pit strategy going on as well here early.
Yeah, but then Hamlin didn't last much longer after that, dude.
Hamlin actually wanted to pit under this caution, but they were using code words and it got messed up. He had to come down after everyone else, and I just mentioned that he was caught speeding. So not only did he get the penalty for not having the correct code word, but he also got caught speeding on top of it.
So better learn your terminology, right? Don't get your wires crossed there.
Maybe no code words. I know a lot. That's been a topic of discussion here this week already.
But everybody's listening to everybody, so I guess you have to come up with a code that everybody can understand.
Yeah. Then Hamlin would blow up big time, and the stage would end under caution. Cindric would be the winner of it. But I tell you what, Tyler Reddick was going somewhere in a hurry there, and he was catching them. Some more penalties on pit road there. A lot of penalties on pit road here at Texas, but unfortunate for Hamlin. But did you see at the beginning of the race that he threw up the but then did the horns down, and that's just something you don't do in Texas for all the Longhorns
Texas
fans.
don't do that if you want it. But he's the bad guy. He's always trying to get somebody riled up, right?
Well, he did that because he was getting booed before, and then after that, he really got the showers.
The villain.
So yeah, Texas kind of got him back for
They
doing that.
don't like that, man. They don't like that down there.
And it was bad luck too because he blew
Yeah,
up.
well, that's what you get then. Karma.
Briscoe would get loose on the top of turn 4. He would clip Herbst and go into the wall. Herbst only had minor damage there, so he was okay, but Briscoe got a little worse of it. And then I tell you what a save by Hocevar, and Byron was lucky he saved it because Byron was about to get to his inside. And if Hocevar isn't able to hold on to that thing, that could be a big wreck for those two.
And it was, wide open, dude, and he saved it just like, wow, did you see that? But what's up with that bump over in turn 4, man?
Yeah.
If you don't hit that straight, even the best of them were hitting that and just absolutely losing it there.
Yeah,
gotta find a way to grind that down. That bump ain't there.
That bump in 3 and 4 was causing havoc in the second lane for a lot of people, and if you went to the third, it's worse up there. But Barry was one that spun from the lead out of turn 4 and backed into the wall due to that bump. I wanted to mention this too because he led a lot of laps before he hit that bump. This is only the second season since 1983 that the Wood Brothers team has led over 150 laps. So that was kind of interesting. Unfortunately for Barry, his race was over after that incident, but he did lead some laps there and made some history.
He's got that 21 performing, dude. Just keep right on working on it. He's in the playoffs, so see what happens. That's all good.
They got speed. They got speed, man. Buescher had a right rear go down and had to pit. He also brushed the wall, but the tire carcass did go onto the track as he was getting to pit road, so that saved him because the caution came out with 4 to go. Larson would win the stage under caution there.
Yeah, and then during the pit stops, Byron was coming out, and he got caught in with Custer and got some right front damage on there, and that kind of hindered the 24 the rest of the day.
Yeah. at one point they were 3 wide. Logano was right on Bubba Wallace. Wallace ended up catching the wall and spins. Logano got a piece of that. Allmendinger, Bowman, Gregson, and Fincham also involved.
Yep, there was a pile up down the backstretch. That's what happened there.
And you talked about Byron. He would be the first to pit under green just as the window opened, but they were unable to look at the damage that occurred for that incident on pit road, so they weren't able to fix it there.
Well, they said that even the steering wheel was off just a little, just a tick, you know, and that's just enough to knock it out, right?
But I thought that was impressive with all that going on. He did lead some laps after that.
He kept her going, yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, there was something skewed in the car, but he kept her going. Yeah.
Love would spin and hit the wall. That was in the middle of pit cycles. Once again, I feel like almost every week we're talking about in the middle of pit cycles, there's an incident there. But Busch would also spin and hit the wall in the second groove from third place. He was trying to get by for second. That bump once again rears its ugly head.
And it went fast. Did you see that? He's just driving along, all of a sudden, see ya, just you're out, you're gone. And hey, about Jesse Love, he's in the 33 this week, so he gets another cup try here coming up this weekend at Kansas.
Yep. Hosvar got tight and kept coming up the track, and he would go into the wall big time.
Well, he squeezed the 60. He never gave him no room. He never gave Priest any room, and then all of a sudden, and that car went up on 2 tires, man. But fortunate there. But yeah, he just didn't give no room there.
Yeah,
got what he deserved on that one. Chop him.
Put Priest in the wall big time. Ware also got collected in that. And then McDowell takes the lead on 2 tires away from Larson. Larson started fading a little bit there after one of the restarts until Keselowski got loose and spun. Cindric, Busch, Custer got collected. Ty Dillon also got a piece of that one.
You know, we were talking about how bad Gibbs was, you know, wallowing around in 36th in points, but he's actually gotten it off the floor. But Keselowski, now he's the one that's down there.
Yeah.
Hasn't had a top 10 yet this year. I don't think he's led a lap yet. What's going on there? I mean, Buescher, the 17, has been relevant. A lot of bad luck going that direction. Priest is running very well, you know. Priest is what? He's 19th in points right now, so he's on the outside looking in. But yeah, Keselowski, man, he's the one who needs a horseshoe in the glove box.
I tell you what, yeah. Priest is actually tied for 18th, and he is 11 back of Kyle Busch, who's 16th there, as long as no one else had won a race behind him here, which I don't think. Josh Berry. So he is technically 19th. I guess you're right. Tied for 19th because Berry would be put up above that with his win. But yeah, Keselowski is 32nd in points. He's had a rough go of it.
Yeah. How many DNFs do you see right there?
I don't.
Because when he gets taken out, I mean, it's bad enough that he's done. You know, all of a sudden, he just had this little mix-up on the backstretch, and here it was laying on its belly, and he couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah, he's yikes.
Just for sure. Horrible for him. So.
Yep. Suarez was to the inside of Reddick in the tri-oval. They made some contact. Reddick spins. He ended up saving it, but the caution came out. And I tell you what, it was pretty much a spin because he was pretty much past. He was probably at a 100-degree angle, so he was completely passed sideways. So NASCAR pretty much had to throw the caution there.
And he saved that on the apron, dude. He didn't have the banking to save that. That's what made that save. So that he didn't use the banking. How did he do that? That was an amazing save there.
It was. Unfortunately for McDowell, he got passed by Logano and Blaney, and as soon as Blaney got by him, the air was affected in front of his car there, and he got loose and hammered the wall. It would go into overtime, but very unfortunate for McDowell. It looked like he was going to win the thing for a while.
That had to have been so deflating, dude. You know, and then I guess I don't know if I'd call it embarrassing. You know, you're just driving along, and all of a sudden that wind just shocked that car, just shoved it right into the wall, and then he shot across the inside, man, and he had to do a evasive action just so that he actually pancaked it, made it better than what it was, but high speed wreck there, man. Unfortunate.
But Spires all of a sudden showing speed. We just talked about Rodney Childers leaving a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden they got a ton of speed. And when Rodney left, he said, you're going to start seeing, maybe it was right before he left, he said that, there's been things they're working on that you're going to see, it come to fruition here. And I think we're starting to see that.
That 71 ran with 2 tires and surprised everybody that he was still relevant, So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it comes around. Too bad Childers ain't there to reap the benefits on that.
Yeah. How about this? Logano would go on and win the race. He came from the back, man. Pretty impressive run to the front. Chastain also very impressive. He finished second. Blaney, Larson, Jones, Stenhouse, Austin Dillon, Nemechek, Bell, and Suarez rounded out the top 10. Joey Logano is now tied with Bobby Isaac for 23rd all-time in wins. He's 2 behind Kenseth and Tim Flock to be 22nd, or actually it would be 21st. And he's 3 away from Mark Martin, who's 20th. So that could I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen this year. He's also 2 wins behind Rusty Wallace for all-time Penske wins. So he's approaching some history here.
Yep. So, and everybody just take notice that the champ is still relevant. Yeah, it's amazing that takes the sting out of that penalty from the week before.
Yeah.
That just totally makes that completely irrelevant. And so now he's got to win and locked into the championship.
Also, something funny happened with this because, Chipper Jones, we talked about Chipper Jones, the Braves legend, and Joey Logano getting into it. Chipper Jones actually gave kudos to Joey Logano, saying that's what we expect out of Hall of Fame, players, athletes. So kudos. There was I think it was an official that was wearing an Atlanta Braves hat
Okay.
in Victory Lane, and Joey Logano took a picture with a trophy with that on. And then in the Monday morning meeting, Cindric put his Braves hat on that we talked about that Dale Jr. said, oh, you should have wore that into the next day to the meeting after Cindric run last week. So some funny moments there. I'm glad everyone's good with that, but it was kind of funny.
Everybody's good with it right now, so see Blaney run a third. That's a good run for him. He's had some tough luck. Yeah, Larson was a little bit squirrely there a couple times in that race. And hey, seeing Eric Jones get a top 5, quite popular with that. That's a good run for that team.
And that was his 300th start.
Isn't that something?
That was impressive. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The Jones boy. We like Eric. Yeah, Eric's a good guy.
Yeah, sure like to see good things come out of him.
Yep, for sure. Fastest lap of race went to Carson Hocevar, 28.556 seconds or 189.102 miles per hour. Texas, I guess I want to end with this. What did you think of the racing this weekend?
It's your typical Texas. I wish they'd fix that bump over in turn 4. It always seems like it's wide open through 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2 is where it's in the driver's hands. And, that turn 2 wall is just waiting for you over there if you overdrive it. And it gobbled up a few cars and a few pileups here and there. And would have been a lot worse. That used to be a 500 miler, dude. They got it down to 400. They still wrecked a whole bunch of them. But all in all, Texas. I like Texas as a racetrack. They configured it. I know you'd like to see the Atlanta touch with it. That would really make that place even more interesting. But Texas is come and gone, and we're moving on to Kansas, man.
Yeah, I kind of made a joke about could that be the track that's going to get the Atlanta treatment? I don't think it is, only because that would mean SMI would have 2 tracks that similar. I don't know that they want to do that, although I guess they made the quote-unquote cookie cutter, Atlanta, Texas, whatever other tracks that are similar like that. So maybe, but, I think Texas is okay. I think the problem I have is if you're just outside of the second groove, I mean, you're in the wall. And I don't like that. But is there something to say that the racing is different and challenging to the drivers? I think there is. So I'm okay with it. I think it's challenging, which is good. And there's something to say that if it is, how many racetracks do we go to that are single file? So it makes the racing difficult. It makes you try to work harder for it. Maybe that's okay. I'm not saying it's my favorite track in the world. I'm kind of in the middle of it. I don't really have one way or the other. I'm just like, okay, we're going to Texas. But I guess it's okay.
Yeah, well, used to be just with the All-Star race, so used to be on there twice, and it's such
Mhm.
high speed, dude. And we've always seen some crazy high speed wrecks happen at Texas. We also see that at Kansas too this week, so we'll see what
Right.
happens there too. But yeah, all in all, like I say, Texas comes, Texas goes. We move on.
That's the thing about the McDowell thing too, is I was kind of rooting for McDowell to win because remember his wreck back in what was that 2008 where he got loose into turn one on qualifying and completely flipped and destroyed the car. Like that whole thing would have came full circle if he wins at Texas here, but such is life, I guess.
Yep. So unfortunate. He'll get the fight again next week and next year there. So
Yep. Let's transition to news before we move forward then. Um, Flow Sports and Slinger Speedway have announced that they agreed to a multi-year streaming partnership that will bring the prestigious Slinger Nationals and other racing events from the track exclusively to Flow Racing subscribers. So that's big news. We talked to Travis Dassel last week. He said it was probably coming out Wednesday. So here it is.
good partnership there, man. Flo is seems to be being the one that's getting it done right now. So get your subscription, right?
Yep. Yep. In the truck series, Jason Alexander will be racing the Young Motorsports number 02 Constant Contact Chevy Silverado at North Wilkesboro coming up here.
The O2, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Some Cup Series news. NASCAR has adjusted the All-Star heat races from 60 laps to 75 laps with a caution around lap 30. So they
Okay.
extended the heat races, also made a caution around lap 30. It
Yep.
seems
I
like
know
a
that
lot of people are making some positive comments about that change.
they are tweaking this and that and trying to. They've been adjusting a lot of things to try to make the All Star race a good one.
Mhm. RCR announced a multi-year extension with law firm Morgan & Morgan as a sponsor. They will also be the primary on Kyle Busch's car for the Southern 500 this year.
Yeah, they got on board. I think it was last year. So yeah,
Mhm.
lawyers got money, so they can stick some money into the sport.
Yeah. 2311 and Front Row have to miss court proceedings with Liberty Media, which is Formula One's media, in trying to compel compliance with their subpoena for F1 financial info. Either the team settled and got some info or just dropped this part of their quest for the lawsuit. Other cases against IndyCar, NFL, NHL, NBA are still on the table.
Oh boy! All right, move
We'll
on.
move on. Yep.
Move on. That's the judicial stuff. There
We
seems to
will
be
move on.
too much of that going on lately.
I only report the big news that comes out like this. I thought it was interesting because they were requesting financial information to move forward, and F1 being the conglomerate it was, I thought it was interesting that they have now gone away from that. So we're
Okay.
moving on, like you said. I said it at the same time you did, I guess. But anyway, TNT announced its booth will be Adam Alexander, Steve Letarte, and Dale Jr. Pit reporters will be Danielle Trotta, Marty Snyder, and Alan Cavana. And they'll also be doing an alt cast with Mamba Smith, Larry McReynolds, and Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton, my favorite. Just keep him out of the booth at the same time when Earnhardt's in there. All right.
I don't feel the same way you do, I guess, but I understand. Ben Kennedy said that the Clash will most likely be domestic in 2026. So it sounds like we are moving closer to it, maybe returning to Bowman Gray or maybe somewhere else, but it sounds like it will be domestic and not overseas in 2026.
Good. All right. I think Bowman Gray should get one more chance at it. You know, I'd hate to see all the, you know, people actually have a notebook now, you know, and it'd be something that how that would go away, but we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. And then NASCAR made it official finally. The finale for the championship will rotate year to year. Homestead will be the host in 2026, and that will be November 6th to November 8th of 2026. Phoenix will be included in the rotation, and it will still have 2 races when it's the championship race. Other tracks are still to be determined. Playoff format is still to be determined. There's some talk that maybe they switch the playoff format slightly. When Homestead is the championship race, there will be no spring race there. This was first reported by The Athletic. Ben Kennedy also stated that super speedways will not host the championship race in the near future. And this was kind of his quote: "Never say never, but not anytime soon." It's not a direct quote, but that's basically what he was saying. So Daytona, Talladega, not in the running anytime soon.
Or Atlanta. Yeah, so yeah, you nipped that because I was saying, well, let's see, who else would be any? We'd have Vegas, Homestead, and then all of a sudden I was going to ask right straight up, what do you think if you start the year in Daytona and ended? But there's just so much stuff that goes on at Daytona, you know, that I don't know. I don't think you could run a championship race at something like that, but maybe someday.
Maybe
how about?
someday.
But like South Carolina, Darlington would work. Wouldn't that be a nice race to have a championship on it? They're talking Charlotte, you know, maybe Charlotte early November. The weather's still rather decent there. So we'll see. You know, what's wrong with Texas? Put Texas there and make the last race, huh?
I'll put the kibosh to that. Like, I'm okay going there. I'm not. No championship.
Or make it Austin.
I'll say Charlotte should be in the running. Weather's iffy that time of year, can be pretty cold. So Charlotte, Darlington, Las Vegas, Phoenix. What's the one I'm forgetting? Homestead. I think those are probably the ones that are top of the list.
But I love it that it's moving around instead of being at one place. Yep. So I'm all for that. So now let's see if we can tweak this to make it like, let's say, a round 3 robin kind of a thing, instead of just laying a whole championship on one race where you can maybe have a couple others. There's talk about what they're going to do. There's smarter minds that can figure something like that out, and we'll see what happens with that.
There's varying opinions on that. I heard someone talking today that they liked the wording that it was going to be still the championship race, and another person said, I think you're reading too much into that. So we'll see what happens. It might stay 1, it might go to 3, it might go to 2. Who knows what's going to happen? But they'll figure it out, and we'll report on it when they do.
Yep.
So moving on here, let's make our picks for Kansas.
I don't want to. I've lost 7 races in a row here, and I don't want
to. and I have to apologize too. I misspoke last week when I said it was 26-13. It was 27-13. After last week, it is now 27-17. So you have a 10-point advantage.
Yeah, it was 27-8 at one time, and now it's 27-17. And feels like the sky is falling right here, dude. And like,
was it really 27-8?
It was.
Ouch.
It was, and now you've wrapped off 11 in a row on me here, so I need to stop the bleeding right now.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it because I was down in the dumps, but let's keep the train moving.
Yeah, you're feeling good these days, man. Optimistic.
I'm still down double digits though. That's
all right. Well, that happened last year, and I lost it all. But we're going to try to keep this going. All right. Okay. Who won the truck race in Kansas last year?
Yeah, good point there. I almost missed that. The defending winner is Corey Heim.
Yeah, that'd be a heck of a pick to pick Corey Heim. But I think there's one guy that's going to be just a little bit better since since William Byron's going to be back in the 07, Hendrick 07 You can't pass up Willie B. And so that's my pick for you at the truck race.
Obviously a good pick. I'm going to go with the guy who sat on the pole for the Cup race this past Sunday, the guy who had the fastest lap in the truck race and in the Cup Series race. I'm going with Carson Hocevar in that Willie B teammate car truck in the 7. So
Well,
Carson Hocevar.
You'll get 100% out of him. I tell you what, that guy is not afraid to stand on it, and I like to see a driver be aggressive like that, man. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
No problem with that.
Yep. The Cup Series, then the defending winner is Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson, yeah, it's a good pick for Kansas, but I've already picked him twice, so I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna take a guy that runs good at Kansas, won there last year in the fall race. He won there, and so why not? And he got a second this last week. I think he's just starting to get it cooking. We're gonna give you a dose of Ross Chastain for the Cup race.
I was listening to Ross Chastain's interview after the race, and he was saying how they made one small adjustment and that turned that car just alive for him to get up to the front there. And that has me a little nervous with you picking him here at Kansas this week. I'm going to go with a winner at Kansas, a past winner. I thought I was going to go with Tyler Reddick, but I realized I picked Tyler Reddick earlier this season. I didn't want to burn him second just yet. In fact, I have not used a single driver in the Cup Series twice yet. I am going to go with Bubba Wallace. A guy who showed beat at Texas this last week is a winner down at Kansas in the past, so Bubba Wallace is my pick.
Yep, that's a good pick there too. We've seen how that Toyota team performs there, man. So that's a good pick for you.
Yep. All right, here's the TV schedule to end this thing here. The Indy Road Course, Friday on FS2 at 8:30, IndyCar practice, 10:15 IndyCar next practice, 12:10 IndyCar practice, and 1:30 IndyCar next qualifying. Then it switches over to FS1, 3:35 IndyCar qualifying, and at 6:06 the IndyCar next goes green, 35 laps down there at the Indy Road Course. Saturday, starting on FS1, 10:32 IndyCar warm-up, 12:06 also on FS1 is Indy next race. That'll be 35 laps once again. 3:30 on Fox is the pre-race, and 3:52 on Fox. IndyCar goes green, 85 laps in the 70s with 5% chance of moisture over the weekend, so looking good down in Indianapolis. For Kansas on Friday, 8:30 ARCA open practice, 4 o'clock ARCA practice and qualifying, and 7 o'clock on FS1 the ARCA race gets going for 100 laps. It looks like they have an outstanding lineup once again down there for Kansas for the ARCA Menard Series. Saturday then, 105 on FS2 truck practice and qualifying, 3:40 on Prime Video Cup practice and qualifying, 6:30 on FS1 truck race will be getting going, stages of 30, 30, and 74. Sunday on FS1, 12:30 NASCAR race day, 2 o'clock the Cup race will get going, stages of 80, 85, and 102 in the 70s, 60s at night with 10% chance of moisture all weekend. So looking pretty good for both Indianapolis and Kansas.
Yep, the weather looks good for down in Kansas for sure. Saw that, yeah, the Indy over there looks like the whole Midwest is going to be drying out here. Even we're going to be going through some dry times even up here. They're talking about this next week, so that's all right. We're keeping it away, man. We keep these racetracks going, keep them going.
Absolutely. Yep, looking good. Well, man, before we hop off this thing, I just want to say continued thoughts and prayers with Hank Grishaber. I know we talked about it last week. He's still battling there. They've been throwing out updates on Hank and Karen's Facebook page there. So continued thoughts with one of the best race fans you'll ever meet, Hank Grishaber. So we're thinking of you, Hank, and thinking all the family and friends. Tough deal. So we know that he's going to keep fighting, and continued thoughts and prayers with him.
Absolutely, man. Couldn't have said that any better than what you did there, man.
Yep. I want to thank Eugene Gregorich III for coming on after his exciting win down at the Joe Shear Classic, the Bullseye Games 36 down there. Also want to thank Matt Panure, Tundra Super Late Models, and Wisconsin International Raceway announcer for coming on to a good friend of mine. So we appreciate both of them coming on. I want to thank you, Mark, as always. I also want to thank Tim with the Corp Racing and Ben and Kerry with Valley Gasket for all that they do for us, and everyone else for their support. I know this went a little longer. We appreciate everyone. And hey, man, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. I'll be over at Golden Sands for their 58th seasonal opener on Friday night. And then I have about 6 places I could go on Saturday. They have over 200 cars over at 141, and they do it in a 4-hour session. And I'm going to go over there. That got me interested in seeing if you're running 200 cars over there. I want to go check that out. Also, Seymour's got their opener Friday night. They've got a lot of lot of car count there. So there's racing around here this weekend, people. So get on out there and support some of these events.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see your updates on Lore Sports, man. Appreciate all that you did. Appreciate you working hard this past weekend when I couldn't make it down there as well. So appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, hey, man, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you at the track, man.
See ya. Hey, cheers.
Cheers. Yep, right here. Oh.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.